Okay, thought I'd give everybody an update here on the HST fan. Got this one finally changed and new fan installed. I did use the little trick, and where we go, right there, drilled the hole in the floor. You can kind of see it up there to access pinch bolt. That's the only way to do this. Quick little rundown on how to do this, in a way that makes it simpler, that I haven't really seen anybody talk about doing. Now, somebody may be doing it this way, but I haven't seen nobody talking about it. First thing that I did was up here. Oop, I'll turn my light over. On the motor spacer and the coupling is go ahead and take all 6 of these bolts out. There's 3 on the coupling and 3 on the spacer. Go ahead and take all them out and slide your boot back out of the way, or in my case the boots were already shredded, so these are new ones. Behind your boot, after you get these bolts out, there's a spring in this CV joint, and if you compress this spring and the one back on the fan end, you can get this spacer slide out of the way. Just set it over out of the way. Next, take the snap ring out, snap ring and a washer, and then the coupling, the drive cup flange, will slide off. Now, as everybody said, there's about 4 ball bearings in here. Catch those ball bearings when you take them off and set them aside. Now, the part that I've not seen anybody talk about is once you get this drive flange out of the way, you've got the little collar with the little recesses that the ball bearings sit in. It's got splines on the end of the shaft, obviously to keep from spinning, but there's a little groove right at the tip of this, on the tip of this drive shaft. There's a little groove with a little tiny retainer wire. Do yourself a favor and take that retainer wire off. When you take that retainer wire off, you can take the collar off the end of the shaft. Then you can reassemble this CV joint out from under the tractor, and you can turn it up and put all the balls and stuff in it with it sitting flat on the table. That is so much easier to do than trying to put all those ball bearings back together under here. I'd imagine how much of a massive pain in the dick that would be to try to do under the tractor. So take that retainer wire off the shaft and take the collar out. And like I said, then you can assemble this out on the table. But anyway, once you get everything took off the end of the shaft, the retainer wire and the collar and everything off this end, then you can move back to the fan end. Oop, there we go. Do the same thing to this thing. Move the boot, take out the snap ring, the washer, and then pull the shaft forward. Once you pull the shaft forward, again, catch the 4 little ball bearings that's going to fall out. And then you can kind of push the shaft forward toward the engine out of the way. Once it's out of the way, do the same thing. Take the retainer wire off and take the collar off. That way you can reassemble this CV joint out on the table when you bolt the new fan to it. Now, take you up on top here right quick. Drilling the hole is, like I said, that's the only way to go, unless you are one of these purist people that don't want to damage your tractor and say that cutting an access little round circle hole is sacrilegious or what the hell ever. Anyway, for those of us that just want to do it and get it done, you measure over from here, take a tape line, put against the knob for your 3-point drop. It's 3.5 inches from here to the center. There was my 3.5 mark. And the bottom of this hole is in line with the bottom of the slot right here. And that puts you perfectly in line. I don't know if we'll be able to see it here or not. Actually, you can't see the bolt because I've done turned it, but that gap right there between the cooling fins gives you perfect access to the pinch bolt. And 12mm socket gets you right down in there and take your pinch bolt out. And once you get the pinch bolt out, you can slide the fan coupling off the end of the transmission. Now, once you get all that done, and you get your new fan on, and you reassemble your CV joints out on the table. Now, trying to maneuver that fan through that little opening takes a little bit of creative twisting, and I guess the one good thing about those fans being plastic is the blades will bend a little bit trying to fit them between hydraulic lines and fuel lines. Now you could take this fuel line retainer bolt out, slide that out of the way, but you can maneuver the fan and twist it and it'll fit up in there. I didn't remove anything and I got mine up in there. Now once you get that up in there, slip it up on the shaft, or the stub shaft for the transmission, and then slide your shaft, the prop shaft, into the splines for the hub, or the fan hub there. And once you get it slid in there, then you can come back to the front. There we go. You can come back to the front. Now, when you do the front one, do not bolt the spacer onto the crank pulley first, like I did. If you do that, then you're only going to have about 1 inch of space between the end of the prop shaft and the spacer. And an inch of space to fit a 2-inch flange in really don't work too well. So slide your CV joint drive flange. I keep calling it different things here. Sorry about that. Slide this on first. Slide this on the shaft first. And then you can compress this CV joint and the one on the fan end that way with either a long socket extension or a screwdriver or a pry bar or something. Or you can just kind of heat man shove it back and get the spacer shoved up in here. Once you get that in, there is a recess that's machined onto the back side of this where it bolts to the pulley, and it'll kind of center itself. Same thing with the flange. It has a machined lip around the inside, just like it does here, that will center on this spacer, and they'll kind of pop together. Now, once you get them popped together, I didn't mention this earlier, these are 12mm as well. Start all your 12mm bolts, all 6 of them, the 3 here, and then the 3 in the flange. Start all 6 of them, and then come back and torque them down. And that is pretty much it. Now that sounds quite simple. I mean, it's not real hard once you have the right steps to do it in, but trying to work on the tractor a little bit, then have to go back to the house to look up a few things and see how to do. You're supposed to ying before you yang, and then come back out and work on the tractor a little bit more. This has taken me a lot longer than I expected. But, again, I thought I'd make a quick little video here. I know other people have made them too, but this kind of gets you straight to the point of what you got to do and kind of in what order. So hopefully that'll help somebody, and happy tractoring.